Alright, so some of the challenges they deal with. Hopefully, these conversations will spur not just the government but the communities who are, who have these natural resources that are being mined and explored by these corporations and sometimes by individuals to know their rights and to demand for their rights. The phone lines are still open 09055666699 or 08121877777. Let's go on another commercial break. When we come back, we will still be picking your calls and speaking to Dr. Vincent Dung Choji on the key to sustainable communities, especially in Plateau State.
Every Friday on JFM, energy transition and climate change mitigation in Nigeria takes center stage, explaining the role of ASM in energy transition and climate change mitigation in Nigeria, with their objective to advocate and campaign for a full implementation of the Nigeria Energy Transition Plan and other global policies and treaties. Join Emeka Omesi and our seasoned resource persons on the role of artisanal and small-scale miners in energy transition and climate change mitigation in Nigeria. Fridays 9 to 10 a.m. only on JE 101.9 FM. Powered by Ziva Community Initiative Advocates for a Sustainable Community with support from Africa Center for Energy Policy.
Yes, you're still on to Voices from the Mines. This is a Ziva Community Initiative Program on the role of artisanal and small-scale miners in energy transition and climate change mitigation in Nigeria. And today, like I said before, and I'll repeat again, we're talking about key to sustainable community. If you're just joining us and you've missed out, but do not worry, this program comes your way every Friday from 9 a.m. till 10 a.m. So you can always join us on Fridays 9 to 10 to also have a conversation and to ask your plethora of questions. I will be speaking to Dr. Vincent Dung Choji, a lecturer at the Plateau State University, Bokkos, a lecturer in geography, and we've been talking about key to community, sustainable community. And finally, final set of questions before we leave the studio this morning. Let's make this call. Hello, good morning. Good morning, sir. Your name and your location, sir. If you're welcome, please go
on. If you don't have companies, mining companies, you will always have problems. Because the moment you leave that to accident miners, you have issues. Wherever they know they can get material, they don't mind what the consequences. They don't go into that begin to get whatever they are doing. They call it poverty. But when you have more companies, more organized companies that have the responsibility of following things properly, it's better that way. Let those companies employ those who want to do soft jobs, and it's easy to hold them responsible. The services, especially if they need to do something before they mine, it's easy to get it from them. But when you leave it up to small miners, you cannot control them, and even if you arrest them, there are taxes that they cannot pay. So the best way is to have these mining companies operate in those areas, they give them the way to bring. So, for example, if they operate in a community, you can take them as well as 60% of their workers from that community. I think that place it's easy to mine without causing greater harm.
Thank you so much for calling Israel. He made mention of artisanal and small-scale miners. Of course, our conversation today has focused on corporations because most times, people from the north, they are the ones involved in this conversation. But just to segue it all, in a situation where it's not the guys in your area that are now coming to mine this thing, like we see with artisanal miners, where just people who just think, you know what, we want to do this thing. How do you deal with that in terms of we knowing that there are environmental effects of these mining communities, and sometimes the communities either they know or don't know, or sometimes do not care about some of the things their brothers are doing. In situations like this, let's say for example, community notices, you know what, these things these guys are doing or these people are doing, it's not exactly very good for us, and we are not as a people directly getting any benefit. As an experienced person in this conversation, how do you navigate that?
Most of the communities are not sustainable communities. They are not sustainable communities. If they were sustainable communities, they will look at economic development, economic growth, which is one of the pillars of sustainable development. There we have to bring community resources together, and then everybody must benefit. But in this case, just a few persons will benefit, and the people are hungry. A hungry man, you can manipulate him anyhow.
Very true. So lastly, before we leave the show this morning, you made mention of something, and I thought to bring your attention back to it. You talked about how governments, more often than not, some governments, let me not say most, prioritize economic development above and beyond the community's voices. Some communities, like you mentioned, have attachment to the ancestral lands.
Yes.
Some of them have attachment to the place and the people there. And when these activities are being done, most times it erodes them of these things. In situations where the government intentions, although good, in that it brings economic development to the community, is bad for the community, how does the community deal with that?
Let me take you to a case even in a more developed society, like the US.
Okay.
In 2014, the US government decided that they were going to construct a pipe that will run from North Dakota to Plateau in Illinois. And the distance is about 1,172 miles. And that 42,000 people were going to be employed. And if that pipe is laid, it is going to be cheaper to transport this oil. Now, there was this community, an indigenous community, we call it the Rock Sioux tribe, which was in North Dakota, where the pipe is going to pass through. Now, the people discovered that once these pipes are going to be laid here, it's going to affect our source of water. It is going to deal with some of our archaeological elements. Our shrines are going to be affected. It's going to affect part of our culture. And they kept quiet until 2016, when the go-ahead was given for the contract to begin. This tribe started campaigning and demonstrating and down-tooling so that this project will not come to place. And from 2016, it lingers from 2016 to 2017. There was shutdown, it's going to be installed, and so on and so forth. There's friction. People will always agitate. What I'm trying to say is that people sometimes may try to come together to agitate. And when you agitate, it delays the project. It does not bring peaceful cooperation between corporation and community, and even with government. I don't know. Once this is not established, then the project is not sustainable.
So should the project be stopped, or should they find a way to talk the community into assets?
Well, the first thing is first. What did you do at the beginning that you did not engage the community?
True.
I don't understand. Because the issue is that it is free. It is prior, in advance.
Yes, before the project. Getting even the approval.
Yeah, so what did you do that you did not discuss that much earlier? If you have done that, then you would have solved the problem. That's why we encourage with FPIC that you go in advance, discuss with these people. I don't understand. Yeah. Let them understand. In the first place, they might not even be aware of the type of project.
Sure.
Then explain these projects to them. If you go to the EI decree of 1992, it says you must describe the project to the people. You must go to the site with the people and tell them this is what we are going to do. They may even identify where the impacts are going to come from. And they will even ask you what type of impacts. They will even ask you, the common question they will ask is, if you are bringing this project, are women going to be, how many women are you going to employ? In the managerial sector, if you have 5 managers, we need 1. I don't understand. Yeah. All these things come during decision making. If you don't do that, you have problem.
Alright, so thank you so much, sir, for being here. I wish we could go any further, but time is against us. This is the size of the package this Friday, but don't worry. We'll be here again next week Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. to bring you interesting and educative conversations around artisanal and small-scale miners in Plateau State. Thank you, Doctor, for coming through, and also thanks to Ziva Community Initiative for bringing this program our way. This has been the size of a package. Like I always say, stay out of trouble, spread love, and seek the truth. Adios.